This is Jared Routson. It is 2:57 a.m. Monday morning, July 24th, 2023, here in northern Nevada, Winnemucca, Pacific Standard Time. Well, as you can see, maybe you can't see.
Across the highly militarized border between the North and the South last week. It's believed he's been held there since, though North Korea has remained silent. King was supposed to travel back to the U.S.
That's what the clock says.
Charges he picked up in South Korea. But he managed to join a tour of
Here is where I was admitted to the emergency room.
Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Michael McCall spoke about the delicate situation.
Can you see that?
This weekend.
The question is, he defecting? I think it was more running from his problems. That was the wrong place to go. But, we see this with Russia, China, Iran, when they take an American, particularly a soldier, captive, they exact the price for that. And that's what I'm worried about.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is sending a second.
Well, if you can't see that, I'm going to read to you. Date of birth, February 6, 1977, 46 years old, male, Jared Routson. MRN 101475. FIN 994598. DOS, or Admission Day, July 20th, 2023, 19.41, or colon 41, 1941, which must have been around 5, 6, 7, or 8.
Netanyahu and his party have said the changes are needed to make sure unelected judges don't have too much power. But opponents say this destroys checks and balances. Today's vote is the first major hurdle for the legislation. Back here at home in the U.S., it may only be a matter of when and not if former President Donald Trump receives his second.
Something on the news.
This one connected to his election role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results.
4:03 a.m. Mountain Time.
In the week, former President Donald Trump revealed he's the target of an investigation into the events of January 6, 2021, when a group of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, desiring to overturn the results of the 2020 election. His former vice president refused to say whether criminal charges are warranted.
Well, his words were reckless. Based on what I know, I'm not yet convinced that they were criminal.
Mike Pence, now a presidential contender, remains anemic in the polls for the Republican nomination, while condemning Trump's January 6th rhetoric, the false allegations that the 2020 election outcome was rigged. He hedged on criticizing his old boss any further.
And I've said many times that the president's words were reckless that day. I had no right to overturn the election.
Trump, still the Republican frontrunner, has raged about it on the campaign trail.
We have a man, the only way he can get elected is to weaponize the Justice Department, which he's gone around doing.
Making assertions without evidence, Trump alluded to the ongoing special counsel investigation into the events of January 6th. Hundreds of Trump supporters have already pleaded guilty to charges in connection to that day. A civil jury has already found Trump liable of defamation and sexual abuse. In addition, he faces federal criminal charges in connection to the mishandling of top-secret documents, as well as charges in New York City that he falsified business records. And of course, he's running for the Republican nomination for president again.
The president is not above the law.
On CNN's Sunday talk show, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who along with hundreds of other lawmakers hid in fear during the attempted 2021 insurrection, was quick to condemn Trump.
The president is not above the law. We saw what happened. It was great. It was very clear.
The California Democrat says Trump has a vice grip on Republican politics, commenting on recent reports the current House Speaker told Trump he'd expunge the former president's impeachments from the record.
This is about being afraid. As I've said before, Donald Trump is the puppeteer. And what does he do all the time? Shine the light on the strings.
Special counsel Jack Smith is leading the probe into the events surrounding January 6th. He has not commented on Trump's remarks about a target letter. As to Trump's reaction about this string of bad news, probably best summed up by the words of circus promoter P.T. Barnum or author Oscar Wilde, which are, any publicity is good publicity. John Moan, Scripps News.
All right, John, thank you. Former President Trump is also the target in an election interference investigation in Georgia. The district attorney leading that probe says charges would come at the end of this month or sometime in August. Charging decisions, that is. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is criticizing remarks by Vice President Kamala Harris about his state's new standards on Black history education. The vice president visiting Florida, taking aim at the state's new standards.
They want to replace history with lies. Middle school students in Florida to be told that enslaved people benefited from slavery. High schoolers may be taught that victims of violence, of massacres, were also perpetrators.
Governor DeSantis defended those new standards over the weekend, saying they were prepared by scholars.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. It's totally outrageous. You guys can look on the website of the Florida Department of
That red
Education.
spot there wasn't there before 8 p.m. today. My heart is really hurting right now. Is that a blood clot?
Candidate Chris Christie joining those criticizing Florida and Governor DeSantis for his response to it. The education changes were made to match a law.
You can see how I kind of have some bruises on my arms.
Christie says DeSantis, quote, started this fire with the measure and now has to own up. Christie and DeSantis,
for some reason, I'm really gassy. So, my next door neighbor is a witness. She took me to the emergency room.
But in this new Harvard Harris poll among likely GOP voters, asking who they vote for if the primary was today, Trump.
On the 20th, it's now the 24th Monday. So back on Thursday.
Video showing a police officer releasing a canine on an unarmed man who was bitten while surrendering with his hands in the air.
Thursday or Friday, I went to the emergency room.
Earlier this month in Circleville, Ohio, authorities saying the 23-year-old tractor trailer
I was there a month ago.
failed to pull over, leading to a chase.
He said that my trouble breathing, real trouble breathing,
And the canine runs
was caused by not treating underlying anxiety, although I didn't have anxiety, or not treating a mental health condition, which I see a nurse practitioner every month for mental health issues. And all he prescribed was a sedative for 4 days. But this month, it's like 4 days ago when I went there, the emergency room doctor, I told him, I'm still having even more trouble breathing. It's like I can't retain air anymore. A little bit of a heart murmur, but it wasn't that bad. And then I told him all about the bruising on my arms. Is it caused by polycythemia, red blood cells, or polycythemia vera, white blood cells? Because I was diagnosed with polycythemia 7 years ago. Things didn't get better for me. The past 3 months I had suffered from corona. It's gone away, but in its wake, it's left me this, and maybe the mold allergy or a mold in my apartment could have also aggravated it also. I told the doctor I was disoriented, that now I'm really inebriated and disoriented, and my speech is slurred. I told the doctor that the night before I saw him, my walking started to go limp, like I was a zombie. It's like walking with a gait. I don't know what to say, but... and then my hearing was really bad when I saw him. It's okay right now, but 4 days ago when I saw him, it was bad. My vision had gone a little skiwampus briefly a week earlier, but then it went back to normal. So the doctor diagnosed me as having a manic episode. It's where you have too much energy and it leads to dehydration or heat stroke and things like that. I told him no. I'd been in my new apartment that had air conditioning. I've been drinking lots of water because in the past 4 days I had been very thirsty. I could not get enough fluid. I could not get enough water. I asked them, please admit me into the hospital. He wouldn't do it. He said, I was told by the friend who took me there, who was my witness, that to go to Reno, they would only send me to a mental health clinic. In other words, a psych ward, an imprisonment. They said I had to call up my doctor immediately because he's not on call, Dr. Argyle at HGH Hospital in Winnemucca. But I see him in a few days anyway, and I see my nurse practitioner in the second day of August via telemeds. So, he said, I'm not making any sense. I'm trying to be my own doctor. He gave me a sheet of information that had the diagnosis of what I had. And, it's true I hadn't been using any antipsychotic or antidepressant for 3 months, but it was only prescribed to me as needed because I didn't have schizophrenia. I had schizotypical personality disorder that can't be treated. Only the symptoms of it that manifest, when they manifest, can be seen, or maybe treated like depression. But the nurse practitioner said I didn't have depression. The emergency room doctor said I was talking too fast. I was simply trying to explain to him all my symptoms. I said, doctor, please allow me to say all of my symptoms before you diagnose me with a manic episode. But here's what it is. Humboldt General Hospital. Hypomania is a condition that affects people who have certain types of bipolar disorder. I've never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Hypomania is a mild form of mania. Mania is when a person has episodes of increased energy, excitement, or irritability that affect daily life. Unlike mania, hypomania does not impair functioning and usually lasts most of the day for at least 4 days. If the condition is not treated, it can become more severe and lead to mania or depression. So their solution is to give me an antipsychotic or depression or antidepressant that really slows me down. Folks, I cannot afford to be slowed down. It's like I had to be working to get out of my old apartment into my new apartment. And yes, I did have to labor a little bit, but I'm a normally healthy person. And I had been using an antipsychotic for 20 years, but it didn't help me. It just made all of my problems worse. What I could use is maybe some CBD oil, but who's going to pay for it? CBD oil comes from hemp. I'm not talking about the THC from modern miracle marijuana that's been bred to be a drug. In ancient Israel, they used hemp oil for CBD in their incense and their holy anointing oil. Okay, so because they wouldn't admit me, I just suffered from a major heart attack or stroke, and it could get worse. There's no point in me going into the emergency room right now because they'll send me away. My best hope is just to register with the walk-in clinic tomorrow. They're not open today on Sunday. It's too early in the morning. Maybe I could go in there at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning or whenever. I took some aspirin. I'm in big trouble. It's called FAST, Face, Arms, Speech, Time. And it's like, I have no one to take me right now, and I don't want to go back there because I don't want to face that same person or the same refutal or rebuttal, but I definitely do not have any mental health condition that would cause any of these symptoms at all. Schizotypical personality disorder does not cause polycythemia. I do have narcolepsy, which hasn't been completely diagnosed, but the sleep clinic is stalling me. They won't hardly get me in there until later next month, or maybe in September. They've kept on putting me off and off and off, and I've been trying to get a diagnosis for sleep apnea, which I don't know if I have or not, but the narcolepsy I've had since high school. It's when you need to fall asleep in the middle of the day for no apparent reason. And it's caused because you don't get a certain enough cycle of REM sleep. And then that leads to a deficiency in the brain of some neurotransmitter or something. So all of my problems might be caused by narcolepsy, including the polycythemia. And the polycythemia can cause sleep apnea. So it's a vicious cycle. And corona, I've had corona once a year, every year since it came out. So it's been 3 times. It lasts 2 or 3 months. It's awful. This is my rebuttal to the emergency room doctor or any other physician who's going to accuse my health problems, my stroke that I just had, on any mental health problem or not taking any mental health medication. They're lying. People with schizophrenia do not end up with blood disorders because they have a secret underlying stress that they don't even know about that they're not treating. Now, my narcolepsy does include catatonia, which is when you have an expression on your face, like kind of like you're in a trance sometimes, or in a daydream, or your face has a mask-like symptom. I'm guessing that's what that is. But cataplexy is when you're out in public and you get nervous because you feel endangered and all your muscles go limp. Or when you're in an awkward situation in the middle of the night and you don't know what's going to happen. It's like all your muscles go limp. It's like, or you're in the workplace and you don't feel comfortable with the job you're doing and you get nervous and it's like your muscles, like you stoop over and you kind of feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but I have it, and it's from the narcolepsy. And I'm getting on record to let people know what's going on. If I go to the walk-in clinic tomorrow and they don't treat me with anything, or if they say it's something else, or if they prescribe other worthless medications, it's like, because at that emergency room 4 days ago, they gave me 2, it was either Risperdal or Risperidone. I didn't want the Risperidone, but that's what they might have gave me. And then they gave me lorazepam, 0.5 milligrams. Either 1 or 2 tablets, I don't remember. It's an antipsychotic medication, I think. I don't know. It's supposed to... Why would they give you 2 separate antipsychotics? To me, that wasn't fair, but they made me do it. It's like, I'm really unhappy with what happened. Because my mental health is just between me and my nurse practitioner. And she knew that I was diagnosed here in Winnemucca with schizophrenia, which I don't have. It's like, I don't hallucinate, I don't have delusions, I don't have paranoia. My problem stems from the narcolepsy. All my problems stem from narcolepsy, which is you use a stimulant in the morning and a sleep aid at night. That's what the sleep specialist lady said, who's setting up my appointment to get the sleep study done in a clinical setting. But there's a certain drug she recommended, but for now, it's like, it's on hold. By the way, the narcolepsy isn't causing my stroke or heart attack or polycythemia at the moment. Or if it has, it's like So 7 years ago, they did do 3 blood withdrawals where they did phlebotomy, where they take out a quart of blood or whatever, a pint of blood. They did that 3 times over the course of a year after they diagnosed it. But the new doctor after him, when he left HGH Hospital, didn't do it anymore. The emergency room doctor 4 days ago did not order a blood test, a blood lab, for me to go back to the hospital to do. They just said, call your doctor, call your nurse practitioner in Lovelock at the Lovelock Hospital. There's only one hospital there. It has a different name than Lovelock Hospital. But I cannot get into those places any sooner, and Dr. Argyle's not on call. He did not test my red blood cell or white blood cell count. He didn't run a blood lab. His reckless behavior caused me this problem tonight. Went out in general for the most part, and that's for mostly. It's like they want to mass medicate everyone and give things that will make them sicker, like antipsychotics and antidepressants. And to collect Social Security, if you have depression, you have to be using their antidepressants. Well, that Risperidone is tricyclic antidepressant or something, whatever they gave me. It's not. It wasn't a generic form of Risperdal, which I used 20 years ago, which worked great as far as not having a lot of side effects. But Medicare and Medicaid doesn't cover Risperdal anymore. So they only let you use Risperidone, which isn't really the generic of Risperdal at all. It's something completely different, and it made me want to kill myself because of the pain it caused in my brain. It's like, and it also caused like a menthol feeling in your brain, and it's like, and in your heart, it's like it leaves you cold. It makes your heart go cold, and your whole body, your nervous system go cold. It's like, that's awful. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Well, I moved into my new apartment, and that's where I'm broadcasting from. If this goes untreated, it's going to continue to go worse, no matter how much aspirin I'm on or any other NSAID. It's like, I need antithrombotic medication. I need histamines maybe, anti-inflammatories, stuff like NSAIDs maybe, Tylenol, Aleve. I don't know if I can take Advil or not, but I did take a little Advil in the past couple days. They say corona causes intravascular disseminated coagulation, micro blood clots. So add on top of that I had corona for 3 months, which they don't. I don't want to get tested for it because I think it could be dangerous to get tested for it. But that's just my opinion. And have you heard of CRISPR technology? That can change your genes. It's like, and I've joined the anti-vaxxers movement also. But what other people want to do is between them and their doctor. Those corona vaccines had to be refrigerated. And it's like, it doesn't work on your immune system. It's like, it's an RNA vaccine. It injects your cells with something. It's like that forces your cells to produce something, which is similar to corona. It's like, do you want corona DNA inside your cells? It's like, it's not normal, is it? It's against my religion. It's like, and I want a religious exemption for all psychiatric drugs, whether to collect Social Security or it's like whether to be seen by any doctor or any mental health professional. After all, CBD oil is natural and they used it in biblical times. It can be used for mood disorders, and it's also a prescription for a seizure. The FDA approved it for a seizure drug. But my local pharmacy won't ever fill that prescription because they think they cannot make money on it. I don't know what's going on with that. There's something more they're hiding. They feel like they won't make any money if everyone starts using it. But here in Nevada, you can go to a dispensary or a health food store and you can get that stuff without a medical card. You can even have THC and smoke marijuana without permission from the government, although it's still a federal offense. So on these apartments, you can't have marijuana on this apartment premise because it's a funded apartment, I guess. But you don't need a medical card to go to a dispensary to get medical marijuana or anything related to marijuana or hemp in Nevada. Isn't that great? But the states need to make up their minds. If they're going to legalize marijuana, they need to stop harassing people about it. Whether how much they have in their vehicles or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like if they made it legal, then it's like but the police need to leave people alone about it. And the states need to legislate it so people can safely transport any amount of it that they want. And that's my opinion. And I'm going to get off now, and here's my cross. Thank you, Lord, for helping me make it this far and for sharing my story. If left untreated, I'm surely going to end up in a coma, have a heart attack, another stroke. I'm going to be, a paraplegic. I'm running out of options. Maybe I'll get better. I don't know. I have to hold out for hope. But really, I could end up dead. And I'm going to be the hospital's liability because they would not admit me into their hospital to await further medication and treatment and monitoring. Because if they didn't know what I had for certain, they shouldn't have sent me away. They should have kept me for a few days. I think it was medical malpractice. So let's just wait and see what happens. And I'm Jared Routson, and I thank you to all my fans and everyone who has supported my Cats, the musical docudrama by Andrew Lloyd Webber and T.S. Eliot. It's 3 hours long on my YouTube channel, but it'll play for 10, and the new videos are on my uploads playlist that I could add to it if I wanted to make a better playlist where the movie with the new videos isn't interrupted by 10 more hours of other people's YouTube videos. Sorry, I don't know if I'm going to be well enough to make a new playlist, but someone could make the playlist for me, or they could re-edit the movie. So whoever may see this video, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.